Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. Today we're going to look at a video. People will post a video on YouTube. If it doesn't blow up right away, it kind of just gets buried. Like, you'll never see that video again. Thought I'd share a video that is definitely buried. Nobody sees it. And it's an awesome video. This video was made by a person I would watch for years. His channel goes by Shield of the Sun. And that's S-O-N, like father and son. Definitely check out his channel because this is his video and I'll just be sharing it, reacting to it. Let's go ahead and check out this long lost YouTube video. I haven't seen this video in like, I don't know, 12 years or something like that. It's been a while, so I remember a few things about it, not everything.
Hello, Art? Yes. Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time. Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not. Area 51. Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now? A former employee. Former employee. And I don't know where to start. They're gonna, they'll triangulate on this position really, really soon. So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick. Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are, they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the
I like how he said extra-dimensional
contact with,
because people like to think aliens is extraterrestrial from another planet, but extra-dimensional means they're from another dimension.
A lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51, the disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about
I mean, we all know that. The government hides that secret from us.
There's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population.
This video changed my life, now that I remember.
But they're not doing anything. They are not. They want the major population.
This really, like, cleared it up for me, the whole alien thing. I was really into aliens.
The few that are left
Not
will
anymore.
be more easily
Well,
controllable.
I guess I know what they are now.
Okay, some people think that aliens are from another planet. And some people think that aliens travel intergalactically, to say that they travel as people or pilots in a ship. Some people think that they're from another solar system. Some people think that they created us, that they're here to bring about a ancient knowledge that mankind lost or something like
This
that.
is
Some
like
people
real
think
NASA
that
footage.
Christ
I mean, this
is one of
video's
these
old,
individuals
so
and a
no
human
AI
thing or a
enhancements.
human
This is all genuine
disguise.
NASA footage. You can
There
actually
are a
find
lot
this
of different beliefs
big,
in
big
regards to them. And one thing has been proven true is that these beings have been deceivers since they first got here. And every time they told a ruler or a person that they came from a planet or they came from a society and that they were created under a different God than we would know, it has often been shown to be a lie. They seem to also change the story of their origin, and history has shown that over and over again. What I mean by that is to say many times when people thought that they were on another
See how it
planet,
just appears out of nowhere?
turned out that under hypnotic
Disappears.
trance, through hallucinations called either holographic images, they were meant to think they were on another planet. Some of them have literally woken up in the midst of having this technology operated on, and they realized that they were actually in a laboratory room. Unfortunately, when they realized they were in a laboratory room, they realized that there were human beings in that room, and there were actual, real Nephilim beings in that room.
It's all over media too, and one of the video games that kind of depicts what he just mentioned, Fallout 3. There's a level, the Mothership Zeta. In there, it's the same story. You're on an operating table, and you're on a ship. See, that's that story. Everyone thinks that people make that up. No, see, that is real witness testimony from people who gotten abducted. They actually have the same story. And that's why you can kind of see if someone's telling the truth or not, is if it lines up with other people's testimony. You have that in books. Plenty of movies show that. Alien abductions. They're doing like really bad experiments on you, torturing you. And media loves to hide a little bit of the truth, kind of like throw you off. I'm not too sure what kind of spiritual warfare goes into some of the artists and game developers when they come up with these ideas, or maybe they just get it from a book or other stories they've heard. Definitely a story we've heard before. What he said too is that there's other humans in there. I don't know if those humans are watching the experiments or they're just fellow experimentees. But then he says that there's these other creatures in there, entities. He calls them the Nephilim beings. You would even probably call them the Greys or something like that.
They realized that they were not on a planet, but they realized that they were somewhere on Earth. And they were in a secret place where they were being experimented on.
Here we have like a side
Some
shot
of them are actually
of some sort
using
of portal,
ships,
actually.
real
These
technological
stars kinda
ships,
going
to
in and
kidnap
out of
people.
this thing. See, one just
That
came
does
out.
not qualify them as coming from another planet, as the way they would define it. So let's understand a little bit more evidence on that. Let's go back to the intergalactic
I
thing.
remember this
okay?
space Cheerio.
If they're from
That
an
thing is
intergalactic
weird.
world, let's say they're from 9 solar systems away from us, and they were from a technological world that is 9 solar systems away from us, that world
don't
would
do
be
this.
far more present than non-existent as we're in that state now. Meaning the
Here's a
traffic would
satellite,
be
and
so
you can see
heavy
this ball of light.
that you would see it. And you would clearly see it all the time. Interesting thing about space is that the solar system that we live in is actually called clean space,
Pretty empty.
meaning there aren't really a whole lot of debris and gases and things in our solar system. It's very clean. The solar systems that are around us are filled with very dangerous gases. Basically what I'm saying is, for the kind of technology to travel warp speed
Pretty strange.
at such a speed and
A lot of
power
strange footage here.
that it would
Here we even
probably
have
kill them before they even got here.
Some of the
The
disclosures
gases
of
would
what it is.
definitely ignite with nuclear energy sources. This is why deep interstellar travel is not possible.
Physically, this space travel thing can't work. Extraterrestrials, they come from another planet or yada yada. There's a lot of force being put on your body if you're gonna go that fast. These pilots who pilot like military airplanes, they can go under like 7-8 G's of force. Anything beyond that I think will crush their bones. Traveling at the speed of light even. We have all these movies saying it's possible. You know, aliens, if that's what you want to call them, they're not really coming from another planet. They're not really traveling around. They're actually coming from portals. And that's the whole thing about extra dimensional beings. They're coming from like another dimension. If you heard like Einstein's theory of like the space blanket, and if you could just push through this blanket and rip a hole through, you can come up somewhere else, you know, totally teleport through time and space, location, everything.
The more and more further you go out into space, the more and more dangerous it becomes to travel.
If you're traveling in a straight line headed to Earth, you're gonna eventually hit something. If you're traveling that fast and you hit anything, it's gonna be a huge crash. Okay, I'm gonna travel to Earth, a million light years away, and by the time you're halfway there, how do you know that this star didn't rotate into your direction and boom, you hit it? Even if it's in space, we still live in this physical world that has these physical laws. These aliens seem to ignore these physical laws. And the only thing that I've studied that can ignore physical laws are the spiritual world.
Was traveling between 11 and 14,000 miles.
Also, if they created us, then who
Yeah, it's been
created
a while
them?
since I've seen this video, but it's coming back to me
You gotta
now.
recognize that the universe is far bigger than a alien, as they want to call it.
Aliens are just like a real physical theory, and there's no spiritual aspect. I think that's why a lot of atheists, anyone who's not religious, they really like the whole alien idea. It just skips the spiritual reality, like ghosts. Maybe you had some sort of experience, you saw something, or felt something, even if you didn't see it. There's a spirit reality going on, and these aliens totally ignores that spirit reality, and that's why a lot of people take to that as their religion, believe it or not. Like the origin of their species, maybe we came from aliens. Yeah.
And these aliens do not have appropriate explanations for these things. They ignore these questions.
At this stage, the rocket was traveling between 11 and 14,000 miles per hour when a saucer-shaped craft
Here we have like a government official, I think he's from the US, making a statement about the footage you're about to see here.
entered the frame.
It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead. Now, remember, all this stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space.
This video right here is interesting because I've actually seen another angle of this, and maybe you can still find this somewhere deep in the web. Believe it or not, this isn't just a star. This is like a person-shaped being. Like it's glowing really bright. That's in, I believe, Jerusalem. It's where Muhammad, they said Muhammad ascended to heaven from this point. What you have here is this thing that kind of lowers itself. I've actually seen the footage from the street level. Okay, this is a city here, really well lit. It was maybe like 5 stories high in the air, I would say, pretty close to the ground. It's like a glowing person. It really sucks. Again, all this footage is really old. 480p ain't gonna do it for you. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I've seen that other video, and I just want to mention, like, Dome of the Rock, Muhammad ascended. You have to understand, like, a good angel, like a good messenger of God, really wouldn't show its power unless it really had to. Anytime you look in the Bible, I think it was Lot, he was worshiping the angel. And the angel's like, whoa, get up, don't worship me. Angels, if they're good, they really don't show themselves. There's no reason to show their power. So when you have a being showing its power, it's kind of glorifying itself, and that's definitely something a good angel wouldn't do. And so here, I just think it's so funny how, like, this being would totally show itself where Muhammad was to kind of further it, like, oh yeah, Muhammad is the way. Look at what happened at the same place that he ascended from, further solidifying in a lot of the Muslims' heads that this is the true religion. You know, Muslim religion is truth.
Asked of them.
It just makes sense to me.
And you know
that it would do this.
they actually
so
say
here you
that
have
he's
it
real.
lowering itself.
They can't even deny him. You ever
Here's a
wondered
person.
why?
This is like on the back end of a mountain.
Now, from their behavior of disappearing and reappearing,
They see it. I mean, they're
that's
filming
not the
it. They know it's
behavior
there.
of an intergalactic entity. Because you are an intergalactic entity. You are actually in a galaxy. And if you were to go to another planet, let's say Mars, they would see you coming because you're in a ship. You would actually try to communicate with the rulers. You would
Probably
communicate
missed it,
with
but
the
it just
people.
flashed and then
They
flew
would see
straight
you
up.
coming down from your
They say that
ship
these are the
in
arms
a
and it's
normal
looking up, like it's
intergalactic
flying.
travel way. Have you ever seen these entities do that?
There's the Dome of the Rock.
Absolutely not. They just seem to appear out of nowhere.
On the street level footage, same thing. It just kind of flashes and flies straight up super fast. Really cool stuff.
And they always want to have very secret.
Here we have this portal. Now, I've seen so many videos on old YouTube, live leak, editing and stuff like that. It was really hard back then. I've seen a lot of real footage that just gets taken down or buried on YouTube, just like this video. I've seen this portal being made by like a group of 4 or 5 people on an altar, like a table, in the middle of a forest, I mind you. And they made like a smoky little circle, just kind of dissipated. You can also see like the 666 symbol here in the swirly portals. They're conjuring something. They're trying to get something to come out to assist them, to help them. You can talk to any medium or any tarot card reader and they'll tell you that they try to conjure up spirits to talk to. Those spirits will tell them the future. They'll tell them things that nobody would know, like what color your dog's eyes are or something like that. These spirits, these evil spirits, they're really smart. Okay, they're ancient. They've been around and they have the ability to travel, teleport, and know some things they shouldn't know.
Meetings. And they're very good at hiding from the people.
So this was seen in the sky.
Have you ever wondered why?
Maybe you've seen videos. Yeah,
When
a swirly
these
white
entities
portal.
have been under
Pretty- it looks
investigation,
divine,
when we
but
watch
it's really
them,
not.
come in and out of our world, you've watched them literally open a portal in the sky and go into it and then come out of the same portal.
Here's another video of a portal,
This spiral portal
a little more yellow.
has also
I think
been
it's in
shown
Japan.
that it can be created in satanic occults.
There it is.
There are people
Same thing.
who practice
the
magic
exact same
that
thing.
we would probably know now as
Someone
Kabbalah,
in Japan
but
and
had
someone in America making the
other
same portal
names
video?
before that.
I don't think so.
where they can open up the same portals. And not
Literally
open up
see
the
it and they
same
record it.
portals, but they can call up entities that look
Here's like a cloudy
exactly
sky,
like
maybe an
aliens.
airplane ride.
But
Yeah,
yet,
I've seen
they
something
don't
like
call
this. I went to Reno, Nevada. I flew there. I've seen like a blue and red light in the sky, like broad daylight, just like this.
them
Same
aliens.
thing, in a way.
They call them evil
that?
spirits.
Whoa.
And they say that Christians would call them demons.
They're
Independence
trained of some
Day,
sort.
the X-Files.
And it's true, Christians, we would call them demons. There's no reason a good angel would show itself unless it's really talking to you. It's gonna be in a not secret way, right? Every time angels appeared, they have a mission. They're very upfront about it, what they're doing there, and they're there to help. In this case, like, you just have these things in the sky, not talking to you, being very weird, disappearing right in front of your eyes. Deceitful actions, right?
All these shows
They're not
want you to
pointing you
think
to
they're
God.
aliens.
They're actually pointing you in the opposite direction.
The truth is out there, and they're not aliens. You ever asked yourself, why would they want you to think that, though? You see, if you think alien, you don't think about Jesus. And when you think alien,
I mean,
it makes
I'm sure
you doubt
you
Jesus.
at home have seen
And when you doubt
lights in the
Jesus,
sky traveling
guess what
together.
happens? These aliens run right over you.
I've never seen it to this
They
scale
take control
in
of
person,
you.
but I've seen it in
They
person.
possess you. They
a
do
few
terrible
times.
things.
And
They're not
never
your
had a
friend,
camera ready, but yeah,
not
these
my
things
friend.
travel in light.
and they're
They even are seen to be a big ball of light, and they break up into smaller balls of light. The Bible, Jesus, and this guy in the cave who's demon-possessed, they say, we are legion, seemingly able to form into one ball of light, and weird formations and
not
weird
the
travel. Like,
solution to
stars
the
don't do
human
this,
race.
right?
You
There's
see,
nothing
you probably
that we
heard
see
that
that does this.
they tell the human race and the rulers that you need to make peace and you need to end your weaponry and stop killing each other and stop doing these harmful things to each other, and we'll help you. But yet, what you don't
Look at
told
this.
is that
And
these
see, if you
aliens
look
also
up and
want
you're not
our
really paying
help
attention,
too.
they just look like stars.
How is that?
This is
How
what
is
I
it
saw,
if they
something
got
similar
things
to
together?
this.
Why
Like
do
a
they need
triangle
our help?
formation.
If they're
My friend, he said something funny. Look at the disorder here. Demons, they're for chaos. Evil spirits, they like disorder. They don't like order. My friend said he thinks that they're physically incapable of keeping an order, and that's why they fly in this weird kind of formation that's not symmetrical at all. It's because they don't know order. They hate order.
so superior,
God is the author of order and
why do
design.
they need us to disarm? If they can help us, why don't they just do it? Why do they need something from us? A good hustler knows that when you hustle something, you need to get back in return. You're doing it because you want to make that person happy so that you can make yourself happy when you get back the return. Where your tax dollars are being used to talk to them and you're not even told anything about it.
That is
Did you know these
crazy
beings
to see
hustle?
right here.
They
This is
promise
just the
people
atmosphere
technology.
of Earth.
They promise people to
have
solve
these
all their
weird
medical
lights.
problems.
Probably a
They
lot of
promise
these
to
are just
show
stars.
them the
This
ruins
guy right
of
here is
planets
doing some weird
and to
stuff.
take them there and to help them build a society there without the people, which is you, me, and the people they're supposed to be ruling over and basically feeding us and take care of us and making society possible for us.
Actually, these things are moving a little too fast.
A
So I
former
think they're
astronaut
all
who walked on the moon says aliens exist and that the government has been
MSNBC, before they changed their name, they actually did do some real reporting. And this is like a dime a dozen video where astronauts who've been to the moon or been to space, they come clean. They actually tell you what they saw up there now that they're retired. I just want you to take special note that when an astronaut does that, they get called senile, they get called old and crazy, or maybe they just want their last bit of fame. Once a whistleblower comes out, automatically they're crazy, the government wishes they never hired them. Astronauts, you know, they go through college. They're really smart people, these astronauts. They have to know physics like no other. They have to fix the ship if it's broken up there.
covering up incidents of contact for years now. Dr. Edgar Mitchell says aliens have visited our planet, and he believes the government covered up the discovery of an alien spacecraft in 1947, as well as 4 alien bodies that were found in the desert.
The reason for the
I think he's talking about Roswell.
denial was, number one, they didn't know if these were hostile and could we protect ourselves from them. Didn't want the Soviets to know, so they devised to lie about it and cover it up.
Well, Dr. Mitchell is a veteran of the Apollo 14 mission, and he walked on the moon back in February of 1971.
I've read about this incident you had in 1951, and you said you saw literally hundreds of unidentifiable flying objects.
Yes, they were flying quite high. How high we couldn't tell because we couldn't get anywhere near their altitude. But they were either very large craft way up or smaller crafts still well above what we could get to.
For a day and a half, all of this happened, but then no one wanted to talk about it.
Well, we sent a report forward on it, and the answer that finally came back months later was they were probably high-flying seed pods, which didn't sound very logical.
Apparently he was on the moon or somewhere and saw these pods floating in the sky of the moon. They apparently set a report on it, and then months later, probably he was already back on Earth, they said, oh, it was sea pods. And it's like, what is that? What are you talking about? There's a movie out there. I think it came out in like 2012 or 2016. It's called like the Apollo 13 mission, and it's made to be that space movie of the Apollo mission. They encounter like some aliens, and it's like a horror movie actually. Hollywood loves to mix in a little bit of the truth. I believe the reason they do this is my personal belief. They do this to kind of throw you off. 50 years from now, someone's going to say, oh, I remember that movie. That was just a movie. Oh yeah, maybe it was based on this crazy spaceman's comments, but it was just a horror movie. And it's like, no, the movie was based on the truth, or this guy's testimony of the truth. Strange how they always seem to like want to make a Hollywood movie about the truth about 40, 50 years later. And I think in another 20 years from now, we're just going to remember the movie, and we're not going to remember Mr. Cooper's testimony here.
But the real question here that we've been addressing is, have we been visited?
CNN.
Are we, since we are now a spacefaring civilization,
See, the liberal left used to be like true woke. Like they were trying to get woke.
The aliens, have they come
And now
to
they're
us?
just
And all
like
the evidence says yes.
So what is
brainwashed.
it
They're
that
not woke at
you
all.
want to see the
It seems like the
Obama
Christians are the
administration
woke
release?
ones.
What
The
is it
true woke ones
specifically? What do you think
the
is there
Christians
that we
who
need to see?
have awakened to
The
spiritual reality.
other nations, and this has been a global phenomenon, other nations in just in recent history, the Belgian nation, the French, the
CNN
Brazilians,
doesn't even
the
care about the
Mexicans,
Dow these days.
the Argentines, all of their files have been opened up, and there's no reason in the world why the U.S. files, the leading nation in the world in this period, should have been reticent in opening ours too, except special interest groups.
So Edgar, but let me ask you. I mean, for all the stories that have leaked over all the years, I mean, and there's always somebody somewhere that's going to leak something, and if there was really something there, don't you think by now somebody would have said something?
Well, it has. People have been saying it all along. So the attempt to cover this up and to disguise the issue and create misinformation and disinformation is very well reported. And the
Wow, coming from CNN, that's funny. We've been telling you, as he said, it's weird because a lot of conspiracy theorists were ahead of the curve on certain things. Jeffrey Epstein, right? We've known there was like some sort of island where, you know, evil things happen. A lot of money can be paid to buy a private island for yourself. Satanists, satanic cults, Illuminati, or even just Hollywood, right? Where it's all vain, it's all worship me, me, me. They do evil stuff. One of the things that the devil will convince you to do is to hurt children. We're all called crazy. We knew about Pizzagate before we called it Pizzagate. We're all called crazy. Code words for we look crazy until the truth is out. Here he's just saying like, yeah, I mean, we've been saying it. I don't know why no one's listening. His own government, right? This guy worked for the government, for NASA. The own government will make disinformation, misinformation.
documentation from very fine researchers like Dr. Robert Wood and his son Ryan, who've investigated all of the early documents, all point to the same story. Hey, we're not alone here. We've been visited.
There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. If you choose, God put it there. There's a monolith.
A monolith could be like an elevator or like a really fast subway train. He's saying there's like something on Mars that travels, can get you from the surface to the top or something. Really crazy stuff that Buzz is saying.
Okay, so what we have here with certain fallen angels is that they have the ability to transform, and a lot of that was exploited in the Transformer series movies and in the Transformer cartoon.
So fallen angels, at the end of the day, they are angels. So we've seen angels take the form of like a donkey. In the Bible, like a talking donkey. They take the form of, people say like gargoyle statues were like hidden angels. They can be animals, they can be people, they can be really anything they want. Well, A fallen angel is pretty much the same. They have the same capability.
And so what they did was they based that off of something that was real. And so what we have with fallen angels is not what people think. It's not the touched by an angel
Revenge of the
version
Fallen.
with these guys. These beings are spiritual beings with incredible powers. And one of those powers entails that as we would create objects and as we would form these objects through resources and through the materials and the powers that we have, their powers is that they can transform themselves. They could transform into a ship. They can transform to even look like the implements that
When you think about the description for an angel, rings of light, many eyes. Eyes, a poetic term for windows to the soul, like your eyes are windows to the soul. He said that when you think about the description of an angel, kind of lines up to a UFO. It's a ring of light and a bunch of windows around. It doesn't have to be a physical form like a donkey or a dog, we would call like maybe a skinwalker. Also like physical forms, like the gargoyle statue, or maybe even a UFO saucer. Hey Callie, this is your footage, not mine.
to
What
disguise
shape it
themselves
wants
as a car, as a plane, and as a lot of different type
Even
of
a plane.
objects. There's really
There's some 9/11
nothing
theories
they
I've
can
heard
really
where
do
maybe that's
in
not a
terms of
plane that's doing all
transforming.
that
We do
destruction,
know that when it comes to the fallen angels, they don't have as much power
think about.
as they normally
Especially that
would
plane
in
that's all
terms of their
black.
transforming abilities,
Like, in broad
but they do
daylight,
have
this
them
plane
at a
was all
very
black.
good
It was really weird.
length. So they're not totally depowered.
They're just able to alter the physical world and physical atoms to do what they want because of that knowledge they have.
You know, aliens are two types. You know, aliens, as what people will know them, are actually fallen angels. And fallen angels have more power than people think. They're more creative in their deception than people think. Fallen angels like to pretend to be aliens. They rather you think something different other than what the truth is. And then you have the Nephilim, who
Indiana
the
Jones,
Bible says
Crystal
were the
Skull.
children of the fallen angels. And
Similar.
they too still exist, and they too have been mistaken as aliens. So what we have, like in the time of Enoch, when the book of Enoch,
We all know that the devil is the author of deceit. He'd rather you think he's an alien. If he can convince you that God and the devil stuff isn't real, but aliens are real, he's gonna play that card, and a lot of people buy it. It also just works out with atheist ideology. Aliens totally skip that spiritual aspect that we kind of have evidence for, even personal evidence. Maybe you had a dream, some weird miracle happened, it's like you pray to God and actually he answered, and people just kind of go about their day after that. They don't really think about the answer to the prayer they just made. That's why a lot of atheists believe it. Some people mix religion with alien.
Enoch was talking about it, it very much confirmed that there was a time when these beings lived
The
on Earth,
non-canon book.
and they came from a dimensional world, and they actually came, you know, through portals, basically. Enoch saw them coming from another world, literally another world beyond our world, and that has nothing to do with the solar system or the galaxy or how we would know the universe. This universe of theirs
That's a weird
is
photo.
behind our universe. And they can open up doors,
Look at that
spiritual
up there, that's
doors,
pretty
basically, portals that have spiral shapes, and they resemble
The
666.
contrast, like, it's just too real to be AI. Like the dark shadows, like that's the photo technology they had, and it's really hard to manipulate
shapes,
stuff like that.
and they basically come through the portals. And when they do, they tell people they're aliens, or they tell people they're gods, or they tell people that they came from Jupiter or from Mars, and they tell people they're going to solve all their problems. And then when people deal with them, and this is our rulers, by the way, our rulers make deals with them, and even if it involves
A little tiny person sitting on a bigger person. These hieroglyphs, they have a story to tell. In the Bible too, they talk about it. They call them men of old, men of renown. The fallen angels looked at the human women and they saw that they were fair, so they made them their wives. And they had abominations as, children. A movie, really good movie about this, Beowulf, it's a CGI movie. This devil lady has relations with this old king. She ends up giving birth to like this giant. His name's Grendel. And later on in the movie, actually, that same devil woman seduces Beowulf and ends up having a dragon baby. Now this is a little bit flipped from the reality, or what the Bible says is that it was more the fallen angels and they would impregnate the female humans. But either way, it's funny how that's in mythology and stuff like that, but it's actually part true. And the Bible even says these people that were born, these abominations, were known as men of old, men of renown. Renown means like famous. And you have like what you just saw is like people with elephant heads, maybe like reptilian skin, because they just had all these crazy powers. They looked different. So they must have been divine, is what the people thought. Bible says, you know, there was Nephilim in those days, like giants in those days, and also after that. So even after the flood, there's still some left.
Hurting us, they'll make those deals with them.
The globalists don't believe in Satanism.
Oh, my man,
they
Alex.
believe they're contacting interdimensional aliens through the drug use and through the electronic interface, and they believe, and actually write about, Ray Kurzweil, all of them, that they're going to merge with the machines, blast off into hyperdimensional space, and that's why they're so crazy. That's why they want to get rid of us. That's why they're smiling and giddy and acting so nuts, because they believe, if you're a psychiatrist and are hearing this, understand, whether it's real or not, they believe they are in contact with these entities and are being directed by them. That's why they're so evil. And the entities are telling them eternal life, total power, total control, everything you could ever want. Just kill everyone. Set up a world government. Build this design we're telling you. Build what we're telling you. Build this. Build this. Let us through. Build the Hadron Collider. Open the dimensions. Let us in. We're going to really help you. We're friendly little guys.
The Hadron Collider, it's called CERN. This giant circle where they shoot atoms at each other, and when they hit each other, they're creating portals over there. There's even reports coming out of CERN that like these portals they make, there's like things peeking through it, looking back at them. CERN, they have a statue of Shiva, Hindu goddess of destruction, in front of their building. I don't know. It's just weird. Alex Jones, as crazy as you might think he is, I think he's spot on there where it's like they want you to build this stuff. Things that are going to kind of let them get a little closer to humanity. Here you have like ancient Egyptian skulls. Smithsonian Gate. All right, don't be late on this one. The Smithsonian Museum doesn't show what some of the exhibits that it has in other countries. These skulls, I don't think this is an American museum. This is like a museum somewhere else where there's just no denying that. Like, they can't fool those people. Here in America, they're just going to say, oh, it's a Neanderthal. Smithsonian's buying all the artifacts and then intentionally losing them. I love how movies depict some of the truth. Indiana Jones, and I think it's the Ark of the Covenant movie, where you have like a big warehouse of artifacts and the Smithsonian or whoever it is in the movie is just hiding them. Like, they box them up for no one to see. And there's a big warehouse of all these lost artifacts. Here you have just some weird skulls that not even the Neanderthal skull is shaped like this. So this isn't human, even ancient human, if that's what you want to call it.
But, you know what I mean? And so they lie. You know, they've been lying for like centuries. So the thing is, when you look into them, when you really, you know, get some guts and decide to,
like
you know, investigate them and, you know, find out where do they come from by simply, you know, doing the things that investigator science taught us, which is to investigate, you know, origin, investigate matter, investigate movement, investigate all these things that would make a person.
This is one called the Greys here, so they can really look like whatever.
What a person is, you know, how you can tell something is a dog and what a dog does and where a dog goes and what a dog eats.
This is actually a photo from Roswell. I recognize it from some of the Roswell footage. They take these black contacts out. This is like a black contact, and they take this out of this creature.
Eats and what a dog does in terms of, you know, its lifestyle. And so when you do that with, you know, so-called alien study, guess what you find out? You find out they don't come from an...
Here you have a very old photo. It looks pretty real to me. The contrast is good, and the bright whites, like that's just what we had back then. Really hard to edit stuff like this. You know, when you edit something like this, it just shows really well. It looks like you have two government officials even, and maybe the family who found it. Something
other planet. You find out that they don't move galactically. You find out that they move interdimensionally. They move.
This is like a real thing you can look up, like a tiny little person. In my opinion, I think it's like a mathematical equation. When you're teleporting through portals, if your math ain't correct, I think you will come out as like a tiny person or a giant person. And here we have one that looks kind of burnt to a crisp. It just totally goes against what human evolution we've been taught
through parallel portals. When we talk about like Enoch, when we talk about what makes Enoch so important, why, you know, what's the big deal about Enoch, you know, why is everybody going toward the book of Enoch? There's two reasons why. What happened in Enoch's time is happening now in our time, and that's scary because what happened in his time was pretty messed up. Okay, so what we had that occurred in Enoch's time was that there were rulers that were on that earth, powerful rulers who were worshiping evil spirits.
It's weird to see people worship like that, because in America we'll never have the masses bowing down and praying. Like that happens in China, in the Muslim countries, and I think here is Mexico because it's Mother Mary here. And it's just
these evil spirits told these rulers that they came from another planet, and that they were going to solve their problems for them, and that there was more God than just the one true God. And so
that looks like Horus to me.
They believed in that for like hundreds of years for a while, and these were like descendants of even Seth.
Yep, there it is.
And what happened?
Check this picture out. This is Egyptian, clearly. You can see how they looked at them. So this creature is guiding, you can tell by the guiding hand here, following them. A humbled head, bowing down. Explanation arm. Like, it just shows that they followed these people because they looked divine and different, and they also had all the knowledge and know-how.
Is that over time, all these rulers were worshiping and not taking warning from the other sons of God. Those entities backstabbed them. And what happened is that the more and more the rulers worshiped them, and the more and more they got control over what they did, it allowed those entities to enter further and further into our world, to the point where they received enough energy and enough permission from these rulers to literally enter our stratosphere. And when they entered our stratosphere, they came in full invasion force. The book of Revelation tells us that's going to happen again. We are living in the stage where the beginning of that is already happening.
So what we put this picture is Hitler basically meeting up with the fallen entities. And
this photo I've seen before. This is Hitler all day. We can tell by the high cheekbones and the very big nose. And maybe you've seen this photo, but this photo doesn't circulate often. And here you have this weird being. He looks like he's squinting. I think that's like the flash from the photo, like, you know, living in space. I'm sure it's not that bright up there. This is just a real photo. I don't know how else to explain it. People are going to say it's photoshopped and just not real, but this photo popped up a lot back then when it first surfaced. Now, it's really buried.
That was basically a regular for him. He had a very large interest in basically following them.
Again, this is in video games as well. There's a game called like Black Ops. It depicts Nazi Germany as having really high technological advanced equipment and weaponry. If you really can put two and two together, it's like, well, where did he get it from here? There's a lot of stuff about the Nazis having like really good aircraft, also weird weaponry. And this is depicted in video games like everywhere. Wolfenstein, I'm sure, has stuff like that. Even like Hellboy, if you remember that movie. The Nazis were into like spiritual summoning demons for like weapons and stuff like that, or knowledge. These beings, we know they're ancient, so they're really, really smart.
And basically communicating with them and basically talking to them. These beings were, you know, very much part of the plan and the destruction of World War II. You'd be amazed at the fact there was a lot of attacks in World War II.
I mean, that makes sense. Who else would convince Hitler to wipe out all the Jews? If there's no Jews left, then Revelation can't really happen.
That they actually took part in, that history tries to cover up or tries to bury. If you look back at maybe 15 years from 9/11, so many people will have a different view and a different explanation to that. The Bible tells us that fallen entities are involved, and our leaders shake hands with them and greet them and, you know, are happy to see them.
That's as simple as the New Testament, when Jesus was taken to the roof of a high building. Satan's tempting Jesus. All the kingdoms of the world I'll give to you. You have to wonder, how come Satan has that to offer? Why is that in Satan's back pocket? Like, here, I actually own all these kingdoms of the world. I work with their governments. They kind of worship me in a way. I'll give them to you, Jesus, if you worship me. And Jesus turns them down, obviously. Even today, that's still true. The devil has a hand in leaders of government.
Hitler is also very much involved with the 13 council members.
13 council members. I haven't heard that in a while. This should be the Illuminati here. We have that like envelope. Some people compare it to the Gmail symbol. But it's just strange to see this photo, which we're not going to see often. That's Hitler, and he's like in front of the Illuminati leaders. He's under them, like he doesn't work over them. He's under their jurisdiction there, it looks like. Yeah.
And so he's very much a guy who reports to them. And this is one picture that you're looking at right here. This photograph was actually snapped, I believe, during an attack at Antarctica. If kid you not. Hitler didn't die in 1945. He actually died later on after World War II, because he was hidden in that base for a while.
Yeah, so I've heard of this, and maybe you have too. Comment, please, to kind of back us up here. When the war was over, Hitler went into hiding in one of his bunkers, and we believe that bunker was in Antarctica. They said that the technology there was insane. America has it now, because we won that. There was like saucers in Antarctica. That just shows the technology he had. I also heard there was like some sort of angels backing up the fight. And look, it's a classified battle. We don't even talk about it. I'm sure people don't even know that that happened.
This was a photograph that was shot of one of the UFOs, if you will, one of the Verminia aircraft planes that attacked an aircraft carrier. Right before it decided to unleash a hail of missiles on it, one of the soldiers snapped a picture of it. And you know, these are the things that you got to really wrap your mind around, because when you don't, you're going to get very caught up in it. This is also the same deal. What you're looking at the bottom with the heat source is very much the fuel injection of the plane, or the Verminia. This is also another photo shot of the Verminia. What you're looking at right here is kind of what I'm talking about here is some of the
So here's like the artist depiction of what happens. Basically, you have these rotating, like, I don't know if they're like magnets, cold fusion magnet. That's why the saucer, it's able to exert force from the bottom, and just a little turn, it could just go this way, and with a little turn, it'll shoot force this way. And that's why it's able to hover and just do nothing that our F-16 planes can do. Like, not a single plane we have, that's shown to the public anyway, can do what this thing can do here.
Engineering components of some of these Verminias. They have a circular fusion type of power. It's right at the center of the Verminia. Basically, fusion that's basically using type of nuclear fusion with water. It just show you just how advanced we were in World War II, which would even implicate to you now just how more advanced we are now. What you're looking at here is another case of that. You can see how sleek they build these Verminias, and you can see how well they've gotten to the point of building them. They're nowhere near to the point where they used to be. They've gotten there now. A lot of this was help from the fallen angels, because our rulers by that point did not have a lot of mental capacity behind this, and so they had to be retaught how to rediscover their own inventions.
I mean, this goes back to the story of Cain and Abel, kind of like a hidden story, like a deep study. It's not really in the Bible. I guess when Cain killed Abel and God kind of banished him from that land, and he found the Canaanite land and the Canaanite people, they said that the devil came to Cain and kind of showed him how to make armor and weapons. They didn't have weapons. It was the first murder. You have to figure, like, I think he killed him with a rock, but you also have to think of the tools they had. Like a scythe was for harvesting wheat and cutting weeds and stuff. You know, that's just that amazing thing of the knowledge of good and evil, that scythe can become a weapon with just your mind. And so they said that, like, Satan really showed Cain how to make weapons and armor and stuff like that. And I mean, we use that stuff for good nowadays too, but it just kind of shows that even back then the devil had the knowledge of how to make stuff like this. And so that knowledge was shared with Hitler. We defeated Hitler, and so now we have that knowledge, for better or worse.
If you look very closely at this, you'll notice I believe it's a 50 cal machine gun that was built at the bottom of this one. What you notice with these things is that they're usually machine guns that are basically placed inside the Verminia, and then they're released to come out to be used against upon other people. You have something as well here. You've got a guy standing on top of one. What you have here is also another one too. As you can see, it's pretty much parked there. If you notice the Rolls Royce that is near this UFO, just to show you that, you know.
I mean, the shadowing is good. A Rolls Royce? Who would edit this photo and add a car? No, it's just someone parked their car there.
No, the elite were the ones that were privy to this type of stuff. They were the ones that were there to watch it and look at it and examine it and admire it. What we have here is the same angle, same deal, and this is probably one of the very well-known ones. One of the things I need to mention about this thing is that a lot of the times when they were launching these Verminias, a lot of the Verminias would be launched to go into the planets, basically to the moon, Mars, other places, other secret locations on Earth. A lot of the things in their world is not what you would think. It's a lot more worse than that. Base, basically. It's a design of a base, but it's basically a design of the energy floors. You have a top level where that's where the operations, flying, things like that, and you have a bottom level. One is for laboratories, laboratories will be at the bottom, and the middle sections are their homes, basically where they sleep in and where they rest. This is a model for a really big giant one. This is the Nazi base. And what we have with this base, it's very old. It was built, and the starting building construction on it was in the 40s, late 30s to the 40s. Right now, it's one of the most advanced colonies on the moon. It has technology that would literally blow your mind away.
Yeah, moon
right
bases
now, there's about 2 million people
just shows
living
how
on
old the Earth really
on that
is.
Base. It's actually a city, and it's very,
I would
very
assume
big,
it was like
very huge.
pre-existing, and
You
then
have literally
just the Nazis went up
advanced
there and
space-age
took it
technology
as their own, maybe
It's one
expanded
of
it.
the last things left of the Reich Empire of Hitler. It's now part of the Rothschild Illuminati colonies. They control it right now, and it's basically their moon base. And
Crazy what money can buy you.
it's just very, very advanced. The swastika building, as you're seeing, is very huge, and there's so much more in that area that's very much shrouded in the darkness. But if you were to get on the ground level, you'll see just how huge and massive this thing is. The top part of it is a huge satellite, just very, very advanced, filled with aircraft hangars and all kinds of other advanced technology there. What we had here with the astronauts doing this was that they were setting up mirrors. They know that in the occult that certain mirrors scare off evil spirits because they don't like to look at themselves in a mirror.
A lot of
And
gold
so
plating.
was the aim at setting up
That's
the
why
mirror.
it's so
But
expensive to
the
go to
mirror was
space.
so,
Gold
I would
is like
say,
one of the
it's
few
so
metals
amateur,
that won't
you know,
deteriorate
they were basically
in
using folding mirrors.
space's atmosphere.
And, you know,
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those things
using
you
a
do
mirror
when you're so
to
scared,
scare whatever was
just
up there
figure
with
out
them.
the next thing to do.
Pretty primitive,
And what you
but
have
it's
here is
all
the same
we
deal.
had,
They
it's all
were
we knew.
basically on a base, and they're in basically a facility that's mostly underground, but it has a few bases on top, a few housings on top.
So you
The
just
government
have
really hates
this
this
astronaut
picture.
standing here
They hate it for a lot of reasons, because it's too real.
on the moon
You notice the golf
in
club
front of
there,
some
and
sort of structure.
that was from the fact they were playing golf at the time. But when they were told to get off the moon, they found it absolutely offensive that they actually came up there to play golf. Which
Yep,
is why
the famous
Americans are
golf
not welcome on the
swing
moon,
taken on the
because
moon.
They're considered to be ignorant. This is like another shot of their getting confronted by fallen beings. Notice this pit right here. They were basically filming the animal life underneath the caravans of the moon. There's a lot of species.
Yeah, I've
on
heard
the
there's
moon.
like
A lot of
little
people don't know
lizards
that.
or even like
There are
microorganisms
beings
on the
called
moon, on
Selenites
Mars.
who have
They found
wings.
frozen water
There
on
are
Mars.
reptilian creatures
Like that's
that
just
are
known
under there.
info,
They
so
resemble small little,
you know,
from what I
things living in
understand, they
fluid,
resemble
little
small
organisms living in
dinosaurs
fluid. That's
or
kind of where it
small
starts.
dragons. They have
Primordial soup.
one for the moon, and there's another species like it on Mars that they tunnel under the ground. At the time when they were doing this was a later Apollo mission, as you can tell with the rover they had. And this means it was after Apollo 11. When this mission was going down, basically they got confronted by the fallen angels. You'll see them up here. There's actually 5 of them. There's a big opening right here, and when the other astronauts on this mission, when some who actually leaked some information, came from the radio transmissions. The radio transmissions revealed that they walked through an opening. And when they walked through an opening, they were basically walking on a platform opening, and they were underneath
Talking
the
about
structure.
this big opening right
And
here.
when they looked, they were able to see more of the city and
Like
what
a
it looked
giant
like.
door.
They said this
So there's a
opening
big
structure was
here.
made of metal and crystal, that there was metal pillars holding it up, while the rest of it was just crystals. And they basically just walked straight through it. That was the opening where they walked in. NASA spreading disinformation.
Here we have some more edited
Basically,
photos.
these rocks things right here, there's more to it than people think. Sometimes they're actually pieces of technology broken off. Sometimes they actually have animal life living in it or biological life in it. Basically erase it. And this is kind of like showing you their guilt. If you look at it, you know, if you didn't have this information, you wouldn't think much of it. But they get rid of it anyway because in their hearts, and they know what it is, and so they don't want you to figure that out.
So yeah, you
So
really
the
can't
less you
see
know, the
what they're
better.
doing,
It's
but
kinda
they know
where
what
they
they're
go.
doing, and basically
And so
you get the photo on the
same
right.
thing here is you got them erasing stuff, erasing towers and other things. You got the same thing here.
So here
erasing
they're
other
like whiting
towers.
it out somehow. There's something
I
here
want
that
people
they're
to see
hiding.
what's there. This was actually a fallen angel.
We were told what angels
Shapeshifted
look
itself
like.
into a giant ribbon, and these are just other questionable areas where it's got moon bases on it. There's other activity there.
Perfect circles.
These are pyramids that are on the moon, and You notice 1, 2, 3 of
The
them.
famous
From the
pyramid
shot
on the
angle,
moon.
actually 4 right over here.
Hopefully you guys come
From
back
the
to
shot
this
angle
video
of it, you'll
when
think
this
that these pyramids are
info
close
gets
together, but
released.
they're actually not.
Because it will. It's only a
They're
matter of time
probably maybe
before this info comes
3
out.
to 6 miles apart from each other.
But here it is, a long
And,
time ago. We already
Basically,
had
in
these
that
photos.
time, pyramids were built for energy sources, kind of like a big giant battery to light up your city.
This guy, Miguel,
And
knew
same
about
thing
it.
here. What we had here were UFOs, kind of lying on the surface. They looked like giant bugs, actually.
Exactly that movie I mentioned, the Apollo scary horror movie. So this video came out way before that movie. You have these bugs, they look exactly like the ones in the movie. And there's no way that, you know, the movie would have some of those images for the director. I mean, even look into like George Lucas was like contacted by the government when he was making Star Wars. Apparently they influenced some of George Lucas's concept art and showed him some real photos of UFOs, and you know, that's just kind of like a underground story. I don't know if George will ever come clean about that, but just here's another case of like, this is in the movie and they look exactly the same. It's like these creatures with legs.
And basically, these things started to pop up when these astronauts started to take pictures. This is one of the major reasons that spooked them.
That's scary.
To get off the moon.
Yeah, I'd be afraid too.
Many of these astronauts, actually, when they went to the moon, a lot of them thought they weren't even coming back. Basically, we have more of the same thing here. We have the statue of a goddess type
Right up
ruler
here.
with a sword that's been
A
broken off.
face-like structure
You
on the
see
moon.
The handle of the sword
Ancient,
here.
probably.
You can see its blade in.
But here you have the astronaut
over
in full
over here.
gear. Some sort of space camera.
Very interesting because it's old world metal, so it'd be kind of interesting to look through that a little bit.
There's a sword
Very, very interesting indeed.
right there.
We have here was a Verminia ship. This is known as a smaller
Verminion.
Verminia class ship. And this comes straight from the old world. So this was an old world ship, meaning it wasn't built by the government. It was built by a government those thousands of years ago.
Just to speak about like the days of Noah, the antediluvian period, they're saying that they had technology that like that city Atlantis was a real thing. So what you have here is a very old ship that ended up on the moon, possibly trying to escape the flood. We've also seen like underwater computer chips, if you've seen that. Like, it looks like a wheel, and it's just really corroded, really green. There's hieroglyphs depicting old world technology. This whole evolution theory is just, call it a theory. I do believe in adaptations, natural selection. Those things are real, especially true for the animal kingdom. But there's just a whole world that we completely ignore.
Basically, as you can see, the 3 holes there, it was attacked. But looking
like
at how advanced it
tri-bullets,
is,
like maybe
it's
the
marvelous.
Predator gun
From what I
or
understand,
something?
they were going in there to take away computer chips that were
Everything
on
is
it.
borrowed. Everything in art is
to get a
borrowed.
schematic, basically, of how it was built. What we have here is basically a pagan altar built on the moon. Quite
Looks
interesting.
like Eastern Island.
But this was from a long time ago.
Just some weird ritual site.
Basically, that's what
the
they did.
spirit world was definitely real. No matter how smart and
This is quite
technological
shocking.
advanced
There's
you
some
are,
more stuff here. You're looking
gotta give
at
credit to the spirit
more
world.
ruins in the ground here.
Here's an edited photo
It's just
and
very
the
mind-blowing.
unedited version. So you can see there's like a
And
some
this
sort
is
of
kind of
structure
showing
back
you what they
here.
really covered up in this photograph.
And they totally just
this whole area right here
rinsed it out.
has an abandoned ruinous city on it. And when they showed this photograph, they showed it, but they took out the actual city that they were covering.
I mean,
up.
why else would they
So
take
this
a
is kinda
photo
showing
of
you
an
what they
empty
did.
lot? You know, it
You
makes
know,
no sense to take this
what was
photo
really
of
there.
nothing. This photo
And,
was originally
why they
that
took
building.
it out,
And
showing
they had to
you
wash
how
it clean.
advanced their camera techniques are in terms of picking up silver, gold, metal, other resources.
I think this is more like a man-made
And this is one
structure
of
on
the
the
bases
moon.
that they have on the moon.
Now, some people know about this one, upscaled satellite image of a giant ship that's on the moon.
You can consider like almost like a halfway of a mountain.
They said there's a lot of gold on the moon. Maybe that's why it glows yellow at certain
nuggets and
times.
rocks and mountain-shaped rocks of gold down there. I kid you not.
Here's
the
just like an
Manhattan area.
artist rendition of how
And
big
if you
it
look
really
at
is.
some of the largest buildings that
super
are in the
huge.
world, they're nowhere near as
And very
big
feasible. It's
as
not
this
like
ship.
unfeasible,
And,
something that
That's
size.
saying quite a bit. This thing is absolutely huge. It was so big that you were able to put about a half a city of people in it. All right, so what we're looking at here is called, first of all, from what I understand, it's an old
Look at
world
the language
structure.
here.
And it had something
Not
to do
American
with
language.
basically a meeting ground place, if you will. Later, the astronauts came here, and when they came
So a
to
lot
the
of this footage is
specific
going to be
area
real grainy.
What the Apollo 11 mission was
We're
about
using like
was to
1950s
spy
cameras
on
here,
the
so not the
base,
best
on the moon
images.
base of the Illuminati. And not just spy on this base, they were all into it, into what they're doing here is they're going into the front door, basically. And when you get a very good look at it, you start to see basically what you're looking at is the inside of an airport, if you will, but a space-age airport. Once again, Buzz is just more in awe. You notice how slow he's moving now.
So apparently that's Buzz Aldrich.
Just
right here.
kind of in disbelief. Just
staring at
really
stuff,
blown
probably
away by
taking
what he
photos.
saw. You're looking at it right here, filming the module right now, because he's getting worried. Okay, this is what I was talking about in terms of picking up metal fragments and circuits. Now, if you notice what he's doing, if you take a very good look at what he's doing, that's exactly what he's doing. He's collecting up circuits, he's collecting up wires, and he's collecting up metal pieces. And he's basically piling them up so that they can basically take him out of there. So right now we're going to show you a female body that was found on the moon. And this came from Apollo 20, which was a very covert mission.
But we can't.
And it was done between Americans and Russian astronauts. And this mission was the last known mission to the moon in terms of the American involvement of it. And this is the body that you're looking at right here. And you'll notice some things about the body is that you'll notice these tubes that are connected to her eyes and her mouth and to the center point of her head. These tubes are actually flying devices, and they are devices that are attached to the neurons of her mind, basically.
Yeah, this footage.
They had a technology back then, a long time ago, that was attached to their mind to send out basically a particle ray
thing even now.
to operate computers that
then.
would lift the ship into the air.
And I don't think
so basically that's what you're looking at are piloting devices that are attached to her face.
This is the part of the video that really freaked me out years ago.
If you get a really good look at her, you'll notice her skin is very much in place. The people in the ancient world lived for a long, long time. That means that their skin texture was far more powerful than ours. Meaning,
I always say, like, the bloodline was cut off. You know, you had Adam and Eve living like 1,000 years, and their sons and daughters right after them lived like 900, 800 years. I think once you're cut off from that divine blood of God, yeah, your body deteriorates. You know, sin fell into the world and destruction followed, and so you probably have this lady who's probably like a few hundred years old. Just her skin's more durable. She's probably a little bit bigger than the rest of us as far as her size. Also, she was frozen in space, so that's also going to help preserve her skin. And that's why you're kind of wondering, well, shouldn't she be bones? Well,
pretty much
they're
you can
getting
see
some
why her
real
skin is very
detailed
much
footage
attached.
of what they have.
And there's other things you'll notice
detail.
about her. If you notice, the rims around her hair are quite curly, and you'll notice some of that there and there, and you'll attach to the eyes, and then attached all the way to the bottom.
So again, what's attached there?
So
it's
what
also
you're kind of
attached to like
wondering
her
is
third eye.
that what she's doing is, let's say when she's piloting the ship, she's giving commands with her mouth.
We all know that that's a very important spot in the brain. I actually have a funny story about the third eye. I met a guy, don't know him too well, but he was actually going to have surgery. And the surgery involves Egyptian beetles. So I guess back then what they would do is that there's these Egyptian scarabs. They actually do have like a third eye. I'm not too sure if it shows or if it's underneath. They would do in the ancient times, and he was going to have done as well, is you cut out that third eye from the beetle, and you actually do a surgery and just put it right here. And what that would allow you to do is have some sort of psychic powers or spiritual powers. I know it sounds crazy, but I just believe him. I just don't see anyone who would set up surgery and also have testimony from their friend that his friend was able to do certain things that kind of freaked him out. I guess he wanted the same power. Yeah, that third eye, like, there's such a debate about it. Just because you're a Christian or whatever doesn't mean you can't believe in stuff like that. I mean, it's obviously true. Just like, you know, maybe a tarot card reader is actually talking to a spirit. It's not that we don't think that's true. It's just that you probably shouldn't be messing around with stuff like that. People talk about their chakras and all that stuff. It's definitely like a spiritual area. And you can just see in the old world, they definitely tapped into it. And even celebrities now, like Lil Uzi, putting diamonds there. Or,
very advanced communicative
the Hindus
technology.
put a little red dot there.
So advanced it makes a person
Definitely
look like they're
symbolic.
psychic almost, but there's just technology.
Here's a scientist about to pull off the apparatus.
Apparently she was basically in a state of terror at the time she died. This is one of the astronauts trying to find a way to remove the tubes off of her face without damaging her face. He's trying to find a way in there. I want you to take a very good look at this note because it's very, very important. This is actually a piece of paper of the ancient language of the old world. This was the language that we used to speak a long time ago. This was the language that we had before the Tower of Babel, that incident that busted up all the languages of the earth. This note is written in cursive writing. We have not been able to translate the note. Just continue to go on.
Also,
and they
I want to think like maybe there's also
type of high
more letters in between the spaces of
right
the
here,
ink. Like here we have like a J. But I'm just saying, like,
this
I think
is to
also
show
these
the kind of
empty
language they
spots
spoke.
are
How
also words.
They spoke continuous sentences.
And that's why it's maybe like a
you
really
know,
condensed
as we would
message.
stop or pause, they would continue to go. What we found out with this note
was that
there was 3 people who signed off on it.
People signed at the top.
Here, and here. All we know is that from analysis is that these could be names and a date, and another message here. When you look further into it, you see that there's actual computer circuits inside of it.
I guess
and
this
these
lady
are
they
the
found
up-close shots of these circuits, and they're just
and they
basically
only found her.
coarse
Like I guess they found other bodies, but they were torn to shreds from like explosions and vacuums in the
particular
ship,
implement, and they're attached to a skin, by the way.
Ship.
And that's why the transhumanism technology makes far more sense.
And yeah,
because
so basically they found some sort of like cyber
to her actual person.
In her chips
and what
under
you're
her
seeing
skin.
here is more parts of her body. This is a
really
more up-close shot of her leg.
And here's some footage of that.
And up-close shot of her body frame to kind of give you an example of what happened to her skin, or close-up, more telescopic.
And here's another angle of her.
The implements attached to her.
Eyes.
And where she was found, actually, she was found
a
few, from what I understand, about 15 to 16 inches away from the pilot. And her head was found about 16 inches away, with her other body parts being found in pieces. That these people were living in a very violent society. This is an after shot of when they removed all the tubes off her face. Right now, they basically got her on Apollo 20. And so this shot right here was basically to show you the after shot of when they had it all removed.
I could not drive back to Earth with that thing in the trunk. That would be so scary.
They had a female doctor who was with them as an astronaut, and she was the one who removed the tubings off her face. What we're looking at here is the natural mark that's upon her head. It's said that the daughters of Cain, or Canaanites, or people who descended from him, had deformities or specific marks that registered them as being Canaanites. And so this is what we're looking at.
The mark of
Cain,
here. Possibly.
You'll notice that it's a cross formation, actually. You can see here.
Yeah, that is weird, but I think it's from the device.
So there would have been one here and down here. And there's a serpent form right here. And it is believed that this is the old world mark of the beast that had 2 type of components. It was a digital chip that was tattooed into your skin.
Wow,
but
when we talk
much
about the mark of
that
the beast, that's actually the same
natural,
thing that we think
you know,
will
something
happen
she
in
was
the future.
born with, basically. And got this flashlight all over her. He's basically checking her skin out. He's basically checking for any abnormalities.
Oh man, she is scary.
You know, anything that's out of the ordinary, anything that doesn't fit. He's trying to make sure everything is intact, everything is looking okay. You notice that he's putting this tube up her nose because before there was stuff draining out of her nose. So he's making sure the nose. We want to thank you for watching our video, and we want to leave you with this important information about the footage that you just saw. This footage is very, very important because this is the footage that is going on in the world. This is the world that you don't see. These are the things that go on in this world that you've either been lied to about or the right information wasn't brought to you. We did these videos for 2 things. One, to show you that they're real, and also to explain it to you so that you can walk away with the proper information about what you're seeing. These entities are real. They are hyperdimensional beings who take many different shapes and forms. Our government has lied to us about them since they showed up. Every world power has dealt with them at one point or another. Every world power has also lied to their citizens regarding them. The world that we live in is not quite what you think it is. When it comes to our history and our past,
and the threat that we're dealing with right now, that was the threat of the past. If you don't know your enemy, and if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. Understand that it's real, and we're affected by it each and every day. It's a time to basically reflect on what you saw and reflect on your faith in Jesus Christ, because he is king of that world that they come from. It's a time to really take what you saw and realize that the Bible supports this. This is the reality the Bible's been talking about.
Yeah, the Bible
and this is what you've been
way.
denied in church. Church should be teaching you this stuff, but instead we have to. And we hope more people will teach others. God bless you and good night.
Just a really cool video I thought I'd share with you guys. I thought I'd just repost it and just give you some background. Miguel knows quite a lot. He's taught me a lot. I learned from quite a lot of sources. I double-checked other sources, and really scary. What do you guys think? Is this all faked footage? Did someone go out of their way to make this whole entire story with all this NASA footage redacted and all that? Just for what? To convince you of Christ? That doesn't make any sense. You know, people who make up stuff, they're not Christ-like. So all this footage really points you to Christ. It really points you that the Bible is pretty reputable as far as the info, because it's never been wrong. It clearly tells us what we think of as aliens. It tells us that the governments of the world are deceived and also bought by the devil himself, owns a lot of the world. It's his domain. The Bible says all that. It's crazy to think that this book, written quite some time ago, is just accurate. People are going to do their best to bury stuff because they have their own agenda. I guess they just think Christians are crazy, that we're stupid, but we have been ahead of the curve on everything from Pizzagate to Smithsonian Gate, because we know that there's a real evil out there, that we're not fighting any particular president or section, but we're actually fighting an evil spirit in the world. That's the enemy. And that evil spirit, unfortunately, a tricky way of convincing people what the false truth is, and it's not the real truth. It's just part of it. I want to know what you guys think. Have you seen any of this footage before? Maybe you've seen the Hitler photos of the alien. You definitely got to dig deep and really, like, what do you believe? Do you believe aliens created humanity? Do you think aliens are smart and funny and they're here to help us? Is like some of these discoveries, if they came out, would debunk evolution in a heartbeat. These colleges and these people who put it, even in our middle school teachings, that evolution's real. I wish they would have stuck to DNA and like things like that, like the genes, like that stuff's real, DNA is real. But man, the way they throw evolution in there is just so silly. Any of this info got out, if any of these people really saw this footage that they hide, that evolution theory would be debunked, and all these college professors would look really stupid, and they don't want that. You know, they're the elite. The college, unfortunately, sways these young adults into their older adult life, and then you got some crazy proud people that just because they're a doctor, they know more than you, even though they won't put any effort into actually studying something. They just kind of go with whatever we're taught by someone they trust. Trust nobody. Like, trust the Bible, and that's about it, because only that Bible has been correct. I appreciate you for watching. Please subscribe, like, share this video. Go with Christ.